Alright, Planet Tank update day 20. I haven't been doing as many daily updates lately because the tank hasn't really changed enough for me to make a video, but there have been a few changes since the last video. Most of them, I've been perfecting this aquascape. I've kept the general idea of keeping all the grassy type plants in the center here, but I did condense these baby tiers into a more of a natural rounder section. Before it was just kind of blocky. I had like baby tiers, rotella, and then it was also kind of blocky in the back over here. So that's one thing you want to avoid when you're designing your aquascape. I kind of just had it sectioned off in those rectangles because I didn't really know how many plants were coming in, and I didn't want to overplant or underplant in some areas. And it's not the end of the world if you have to move stuff. I've done it a bunch, so I kept everything in the middle here the same. I moved this Ludwigia, these 5 stems right here, from the back, and I did move that rotella, some of those taller pieces from the jungle back here. Kind of thin that out a little bit. It was getting a little too dense, kind of overpowering the eye. So I'm starting a little smaller section in the back next to the Anacris. A lot of more stems of this stuff coming in. I've been cutting off the tops and replanting. So we've got a bunch of those. I removed the Marimo moss ball that was here because I'll probably take out these onion plants too eventually. They're not doing much for me. They're growing, but I just don't really like them. They don't really give any cover, and they're just not that interesting, so I might sell them to the fish store to get some money for fish or whatever. I also moved some of the Java ferns around. I took out the big one that was kind of right here, the window lover, and moved it right attached to this rock to make that more of a centerpiece area, the Java fern. You always want to pick something with, I think, bigger leaves as your centerpiece. And you don't really want it right in the center. This is offset to the left a little bit. And this crypt is actually a good centerpiece. I didn't think it would grow this fast, but it's already at the top of the tank. And there's just a ton of leaves on it. Probably the biggest surprise out of all the plants of how much it's grown. Even this little guy that I took off the bigger section. Jungle Val is still sort of adapting into its environment here. It's still melting. Some of the groupings have been sending off some new growth back there, so that's encouraging. But that's the one thing I'd really like to see get going a little more, is the Jungle Val, just to fill in this middle area, especially in the back. You can't really see it, but there's quite a bit of open space back there. This dwarf sage is growing a little taller than I thought it would be, and I looked that up, and it's because it's under low light. Low light will keep things growing a little taller to reach the light, and a little thinner usually. Higher light will make things grow a little bushier and lower to the ground. So I kind of like the look of it, but that leaf there is about 7 inches or so, and that's filling in nice. The baby tiers have been growing a lot, even under this lower light. I didn't know how well they would do, but we've got a nice carpet going here. I've just been cutting off the tops as usual and replanting those. Ludwigia, sort of a slow medium grower, but I wanted to bring it to the front because I like its color, and I kind of made this rounder section here. If you look at it from above, I kind of drew this line sort of like this. These rounder areas made this more of a circle, and back here also sort of like a round cut from the corner. Driftwood kind of breaks that up pretty nicely. I rearranged the moss on here. It's been growing pretty well, so I wanted to attach it a little better and spread it out. It was sort of just bunched up in a ball before. I trimmed back this Anubias. I don't know if I'm going to keep that or not. I really like the look of Anubias, but this particular plant is just not doing much for me. Java Fern is doing stuff, so maybe I'll get more of that. Rotala is always growing pretty nice. The new growth is green under the low light, so it's losing a little bit of its reddish, orangish color, which is the downside of keeping it under the lower light. But it's looking pretty nice right now. There's the two new Cory cats. Put them in about 5 days ago. I was worried about the water conditions with these guys, because Cory cats usually don't do so well in a newer tank, but you know, the plants are just saving grace when it comes to cycling and all that. This tank's still not 3 weeks old, and it's supporting fish pretty well, and the ammonia levels are practically zero. The test is sort of hard to see, the master test kit API thing, the water testing. It's either 0 or 0.1 at most right now, the ammonia. And these guys are just kind of hanging out right now. They sort of buddy up in parts of the day and then split up as the day goes along. I just had to get these at the pet store when I saw them, the skunk Cory cats. I've never seen them before. I've seen them online, but usually these are sort of hard to find at local pet stores. Most of the time you have to order them, and I didn't really want to order fish since I've heard some mixed reviews on that. So I also put 3 more on hold. I'll be adding 1 more this weekend, and 2 more of the Rasboras, wherever they are, over here. 2 more of these guys coming in. They finally started to eat. Usually new fish, when you acclimate them, even if you acclimate them well, they're not going to eat in the first day or so. Maybe they'll eat it and then spit it out or something like that. Most of the time it's because of the stress of being put into a new environment. Food isn't really on their mind. Plus the food source might be different than what they're used to. So it may be a good idea to ask wherever you're buying your fish from what they feed their fish. But they've been eating. Cory cats have been eating. I bought a bunch of food. I'll make a video on that today, all the good food, because if you feed your fish well, they're going to have good colors and they're just going to be healthier. So these guys have been cleaning all day. Cory cats are wonderful fish. Yeah, so the tank is really filling in nice. It's hard to believe how much it's grown already from, what was it, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I planted it all. So, that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching. See ya.